We're one of the best kept secrets in the state of Kentucky. A lot of people don't even know we exist. We house close to 1,500 venomous reptiles and a few alligators and some pythons for educational purposes. The main reason we keep a lot of venomous snakes is for the production of venom. All the animals are kept in display units so people can actually see them. Kentucky Reptile Zoo is probably one of the largest collections of venomous snakes in the world. We can't say we are the largest because I haven't been to every collection in the world, but we house one of the largest collections and the most diverse collections. We have over 100 species on display. There's no zoo in the United States that has more venomous snakes on display than we do. The Kentucky Reptile Zoo is a nonprofit organization whose goal is to educate the public while providing venoms for medical research worldwide. Something that's unique about the Kentucky Reptile Zoo is that we combine science and education at the same time. We allow scientists to come here and actually do research projects at our facilities, which a lot of zoos are not able to do. When I was about 6 years old, I caught my first snake. A lot of people who work with reptiles start out when they're young, they find a snake and their interest either continues or it stops. My dad bought me a book about snakes. By the time I was 12, I was reading on a college level in herpetology, the study of reptiles and amphibians. I'd caught my first rattlesnake by the time I was 12. When I was 15, I started wrestling alligators in Florida. By the time I was 17, I started extracting venom for medical research. I was born in Kentucky, and it's just kind of was a natural thing for me to come back to Kentucky. And I spent a lot of time in the field in Kentucky as a kid, catching rattlesnakes and playing in the mountains and stuff. So I've always liked it here. I've spent a lot of time in Central America and South America, but I've always come back to Kentucky. Now get the hook out. We also provide venoms. We're one of the few legitimate venom providers here in the United States. One of the 3 that provide venom for the anti-serum that's produced here in the United States. The venoms have a lot of mysteries. I mean, when I was bitten by one of the cobras, I had perfect vision for a while, and I, usually wear glasses or wear contacts, and it affected my optic nerve. But 10 minutes later, I was dead. So, you give one thing up for another. I don't know if I want perfect vision to be dead. So, but it's interesting that a small animal and one drop of venom can do that to your body. As big an animal as we are, it fascinates me. If you're handling an animal, any animal can be dangerous. So any kind of wild animal should be left alone. That's why one of the things we try to get across to the kids here is that, if they leave the animal alone, they're not going to get bit. And, they ask me, what's the most dangerous snake? I said, the one that just bit you, because that's the only one you have to deal with. The danger involved with handling the snakes is when you feel the animal's a toy, or you've seen too much on TV where you think that you can play with the animals and stuff, and people underestimate the animal. The normal behavior of the animal is to try to get away, and if you keep pushing it, eventually the animal's going to bite you. And with me having to grab the animals, that increases my odds of being bitten. But if I was just letting them go or just moving them around, I should never get bitten. But grabbing them, that usually makes them upset. And of the 16 envenomations I've had, only 2 have been while extracting. Most of my envenomations have occurred when doing something like medical care or something that's unusual. And 2 of them were off feeding responses from the animals coming out of the cage, which is not a normal behavior for them, because in the wild they're not going to have a feeding response where they come shooting out of a cage. I've extracted venom from every snake that's been brought into captivity. There's nothing I won't handle. There's certain people I wouldn't want to be around, but there's no snake that I wouldn't handle. One of my doctor friends put me on a little monitor to see what my heart rate was, and when I'm catching a king cobra, my heart rate stays about normal, which is 55 to 60 beats per minute, and then when I'm driving, it goes up to 100. I'm more afraid of people in cars than I am of snakes. Everything that in the United States so far, every species I've actually been able to collect and see in the wild. I'm looking forward to going to Vietnam to be able to hunt for cobras in the wild and hopefully find even a king cobra in the wild, which is something that I've always told myself, before I die I want to catch a king cobra in the wild, but I hope it's not one and the same. That's a good question, whether it's worth it or not. I still do it, you know, and after every bite, I've spent less than 24 hours in the hospital, and I always go right back to work. So obviously I probably have a different outlook on life than most people. Most people worry about when they're gonna die. I don't worry about when I'm gonna die, and I don't worry about how I'm gonna die. I just worry about how I'm gonna live.